What's up, my favorite people? You are here with me. It is Tuesday. It is 11 a.m. That means it is time for WDD Live. And it is time for a special WDD Live. Karen says, grabs an entire bucket of popcorn. I had to, I'm doing a little self-therapy this morning, saying, I was trying to, it's very difficult. We'll talk about context and all of that in a minute. Here's the thing. I didn't want to look at Oxygen 6. I didn't want, I did promise to look at Builderius, but I didn't want to look at Builderius yet because in my opinion, like half of Builderius doesn't exist. Like it's all of the pro elements and whatnot. Like those are the things I'm actually interested in. I mean, we can look at the surface level stuff, but the surface level stuff is very similar to what's going on everywhere else. And so it's, you'll see, like, I really want to see the advanced stuff, but the advanced stuff's not ready. So we can't really look at it. But we can get general eyes on it, whatever. Okay. But I didn't want to look at Oxy 6. I did not want to look at Oxy 6. And one of the reasons that I didn't want to look at Oxy 6 is because, it's very difficult to be nice about it. It's very difficult to be nice. I feel like it's a disrespectful offering to customers. And it's another instance of disrespect in a long line of disrespect from that team. So, but we'll get into it. I'm just trying to gear myself up to like, just, you guys want me to, I think you want me to be as nice as I can be, but it's very difficult. It's a very difficult thing to do. And I think you'll see this more and more, as we get into the details. Okay. So we got a bunch of people in the house. This is fantastic. The plan today is we're going to look at Oxy 6 first, then we will get into Builderius. We're going to do Q&A along the way. I don't have a plan for how I'm going to go into these tools and look at them. If you want to look at a specific thing in the tool as we're going, you can drop that in the chat. I would phrase everything as a question. If you're wanting me to like see it and to do something in particular, hashtag Q it and phrase it as a question, right? Okay. So we've all learned from Jeopardy. Everything can be phrased as a question. So, but that's the way I'm going to find it because I'm going to search for hashtag Q and it has to be phrased as a question. It should have a question mark at the end. All right. Now, I will say this, little disclaimer. A lot of people love to hate on me doing this. It's crazy. Kevin, before you had products, I loved all of your takes on all of the different tools and what's right, what's wrong, all this. They loved it. And then for some reason, it's like when you start developing a tool, they're like, nah, you can't do that anymore. You can't, that's off limits now. You can't do that anymore. That's a violation of some kind. It's ridiculous. First of all, I get dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of hundreds probably of messages and emails asking me to do this. Okay. So I'm going to do it. That's what I'm going to do. That's what people are wanting me to do. So that's what I'm going to do. They also know that like I have unique ways of looking at these things. It's not like, oh, this is a rando looking at a page builder, right? There's things I see and look at that many other people don't see and look at when they use these tools. And so they want those kinds of insights. Now it's going to raise the question, is he just hating? Is he, cause he's got this competing tool. Is he just hating? I'm not actually worried about it. Like when you see Etch, you're going to see something so fundamentally different and so fundamentally better. And it's going to be so clearly obvious. I don't have to hate. I'm just pointing out why we're not doing shit this way. And you're going to clearly see that we didn't do shit this way. And there's a reason why we didn't do it this way. And I'm going to explain the why. And then you're going to clearly see it. And you're going to be like, yeah, you're going to come to the same exact conclusion. Okay. And so, we have to, when I talk about era 3 versus era 4, it's not as much as haters want to think that's just marketing. They're going to clearly see the difference. And that's what I've always seen or always said. I've said You know, a lot of people that talk shit can't find a record button on a device. Like I have no problem finding a record button. And so when I demonstrate things on video to make my point, 80 to 90% of people are like, I mean, you can't argue with that. But then the 10% of haters still want to just fucking dismiss it and excuse it away, right? Well, we're going to find a video with Etch, and you're going to clearly see that era 4 is not era 3. That is the conclusion that you are rapidly going to come to. It's not even going to be a question, okay? And so I'm finding myself, and this Bricks included, and I saw a tweet from Dave Foy today on Twitter. He made a fantastic point. Like, he's running out of steam, you know, motivation for Bricks 2.0 because it's taking so absolutely long to actually arrive. And in this game, you have to be able to move fast. You have to be able to iterate quickly. You have to be thinking 3 steps ahead. And these tools, like you're gonna see, with Oxy is not thinking 3 steps ahead. They're thinking about shit like it's fucking 2019. Well, you're gonna see again. It's very difficult to be nice about some of this stuff because it's coming for so long, and then to also see that a lot of it is just absolutely hijacked from other places. It's just, this is not innovation. This is not innovative, but we'll get into it. We'll get into it. But I speak from a place of confidence because now that we are building a tool, and now that like I am seeing in real time what a motivated, innovative team is actually capable of doing, it's really yawning. Like I go into these era 3 tools and it's just big fucking yawn. Like, okay. And I'm not talking about Builderius. I've looked at Builderius for 5 minutes. I don't even know. So I'm not giving an opinion on that yet. I have looked at Oxy 6. Oxy 6 is not innovation. It's anti-innovation, actually, in a lot of ways. It's moving backwards. It almost is like begging to be an era 2 tool in a lot of ways. But let's go ahead and get into it. So I'm going to start with Oxy 6, then we'll move into Builderius. Questions in the chat, #Q. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and share screen. And by the way, you know, I'm going to be much more nice when we get to the Builderius part. Okay, I'm going to be less nice in the Oxy part. And as I pull this up, I will go into the context as to why. Okay. Let's go ahead and get to the builder, and then we'll take a pit stop and talk. Oh, you guys can't. Okay, hold on. I gotta fix my overlay, screen and cam. What do I have to do? Pull a camera onto here. I was recording a bunch of things without my other camera. There we go. Oh, look at that! It just magically appeared out of nowhere. Okay, let's put that on there. Fantastic. All right. So good. Okay, let's do add a new page. Let's just say test page. All right, test page. Publish. Okay. Edit in Oxygen. All right, great. Here's our interface. You guys can see me now, right? I'm back on the stream. I know Marcel said can't see you anymore. I should be back now. I can even make this maybe a touch bigger, and I'll try to remember if I'm covering anything up. I often forget. There's a lot of things to think of. I'll try to remember that I'm bottom right. If there's anything critical happening in the bottom right, I'll try to remember, but we should be, okay, we should be back. Fantastic. All right. Here's the TLDR context of why, of another reason why it's difficult to be nice, okay? Oxygen, for a straight 2 years, a vast majority of their community, including me, came to the conclusion that for Oxygen to live on and to be great, you know what the number one thing I tell my softball team is, like when they're taking the field, it's not a lot of instructions. You know, we do a lot of stuff in practice, but I just tell them, I say, go be great, right? And because you know, everybody wants to go be great. And it, you know, it's motivational. It's not a lot of information in your brain to think, just go be great. Okay. Just for Oxygen to go be great, they had to rewrite. There had to be a rewrite, and we were saying rewrite it in Vue. I mean, that's what Bricks was using at the time. That was the big up and coming thing. We're like, rewrite it in Vue, and it can continue to be great and fix a lot of the issues with the current version. You guys have learned a lot since you started on the original. First of all, there was an original Oxygen before I can't even remember what version it switched over in, around 2 or something like that. And then they had a second iteration, and then it was clear that it was time for a third iteration. And they argued to no end. They said, no. First of all, a lot of people got wind that it was being rewritten in Vue. And there was a conspiracy. Is it being rewritten in Vue? A lot of people were misled to believe that it was being rewritten in Vue, which is, again, why the breakdance announcement landed completely wrong. But we knew for it to live on, it had to be rewritten. It could not live on in its current form. And they said, no, actually, it's just fine. 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 Nothing to see here. It's just fine. It's just fine. It's just fine. Didn't care. Didn't care what everybody thought. It's just fine. It's just fine. It's just fine. And then, they go dark. We don't hear from them for forever, for so long, many years. And then out of the blue, they release Breakdance. And Breakdance was like, okay, nobody asked for this. What is this? This is a completely different market. This obviously is going to take resources and time away from Oxygen. Oxygen's not going anywhere. What is this? And everybody rightfully got upset. Now, they got doubly upset when a live stream happened on Jonathan Jernigan's channel. And in that live stream, Lewis essentially proceeded to shit on all of the users, shit on all of the creators, shit on everything and everybody. That wasn't well received. That wasn't well received by the community. And third-party developers started to leave, and users started to leave, and a lot of people started to leave. Also, people got upset, and then the ban hammer came down. People just started getting banned left and right for, saying anything critical. So that was another big problem, right? And then I said, guys, read the writing on the wall. This iteration of Oxygen is dead, okay? And because there's a bug fix every 6 months, people are like, huh, Kevin's wrong. Look at that moron. Oxygen's clearly still alive and well. What did I just say a minute ago at the beginning of the stream? You have to be able to iterate fast. You have to be able to move fast. You have to be able to innovate in this game, or you have a dead product. It's a dead product. Stop this nonsense. Well, I got a bug fix, Kevin. Look, it's not dead. No, it's realistically and practically dead. Okay, and remains so. People are now, look, Kevin said Oxygen's dead. Here's 6.0. Yeah, the version I said is dead is still dead and buried. Okay, it's in a coffin right now. It went from being on life support to now being in a coffin for sure. Okay. And no, you can't. So you can't upgrade. No, you have to rebuild. And by the way, this is what they should have done in the very, very beginning. We are in the same position. Everybody was like, Kevin, they can't rebuild it because it's not going to be backwards compatible. That's not acceptable. Blah blah blah. I said Breakdance is not backwards compatible. They gave you Breakdance. Oxygen still died. They gave you Oxygen 6. Oxygen that you liked. I'm knocking shit over. Oxygen that you liked still died. It still did what I said it was going to do. Die. 6 didn't save it. Breakdance didn't save it. It did exactly what I said it was going to do. Quickly did exactly what I said it was going to do. At some point, you can either start listening or you can just continue to live a very hard life. Quickly, we had an update this week. They found out what happened to Lewis. Now, I'm not going to disclose all the details, okay? But they all have sad face. So many of them. Well, you could avoid the sad face if you just listen to what I said 8 months ago, a year ago now, that once the first time it happened and we saw the writing on the wall, there's a lot of people who struggle to read writing on the wall. No matter how clear it is, they struggle to read it. They don't want to read it. Or maybe they read it and they don't want to believe it. Okay? When I read the writing on the wall, I just believe the writing on the wall and I say, oh, I see what that says. Okay, time to move on, right? So I warned people about Quickly, they didn't listen. I warned people about Oxygen, they didn't listen. You can listen or you can live the hard life, okay? So we're in the same spot now. We have a dead Oxygen. We have a new thing called Oxygen 6. And people are even telling me now, Kevin, they skipped 5. You know what that means? There's going to be some innovation coming on the 4.0 branch, and it could go up to 5. That's, I mean, I guess you have to know nothing about software development to think that's even in the realm of fucking possibility. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It doesn't make any sense. Now there's going to be 3 builders? Where is that going to fit? in the portfolio of products. It's just craziness. This is insanity. Okay, so yes, when you rug pull your entire customer base, when you go on a live stream and shit on them repeatedly and shit on all the creators who helped make that product successful, when you completely shift gears and start focusing on a different customer base, okay? And then when you continue to say you continue to do things you said you were never going to do. Let me remind you, breakdance was never gonna have a grid builder thing. Breakdance was never gonna have a loop. Breakdance was never gonna have this and that and this and that, and then now it has it. Okay, and why? Because people were concerned that it was gonna cannibalize Oxygen. Hey, if you give it too many powerful things, it's going to cannibalize Oxygen. And they said, don't worry, it's not gonna have those things, and then it had those things. It just proceeded to have all the things they said it was never going to have, okay? Now, how do we arrive at Oxygen 6? Well, it turns out Oxygen 6 is a very cheap and easy thing to produce if you take an entire architecture that you've already built somewhere else, and then you take somebody else's UI and you slap them together, okay? Literally, Lewis could have told his team, guys, I want you to take breakdance's architecture and I want you to put Webflow's UI on it. I'm gonna go skiing. And didn't even have to provide any direction beyond that. Didn't have to do any problem solving beyond that. Just marry together breakdance's architecture and Webflow's UI. And it feels like that's exactly what the team did. And that's what they shipped you as the future of page building. Now, I will remind you, Webflow's UI, if anybody is familiar with the last time I looked at Webflow, Webflow's UI is already years out of date. It is Webflow's UI was designed before the era of variable first workflows, okay? If you know what a variable first workflow, like a token first workflow in inputs, we're gonna clearly see this as we go through because they use the same UI. They took a UI that was already years out of date and has so many obvious problems and was like, yeah, let's do that. Let's do that right there. Just ship that. No innovation, no problem solving, no effort whatsoever. Just ship that. Well, sir, it's years out of date. Sir, it doesn't really work with the modern workflow of 2020. Just ship it. That's what you're getting. That's what you're getting with Oxygen 6, okay? So anything build is you can't mimic 5 years ago and call that the future. That doesn't work. That's ridiculous. Okay. Let me just check on the chat real quick. Yeah. If you want to reveal, what happened to Quickly's Lewis in the chat, then that's up to you. Look, I'm not mad at the guy for like he decided he's gonna go live his life. I'm only mad at him for lying about it and misleading people and telling him Quickly was coming back when it actually isn't coming back and all this other stuff. But again, that didn't affect me because I had already read the writing on the wall. I was completely unaffected by that. It was just a bunch of people that didn't listen, that were super sad face. Okay, so let's get into this. Here's the interface. The first thing I look for is just elements, right? This layout. Where's my Pro Mouse cursor? Okay, let's be clear about this. Okay, this layout of adding elements. And let's set the stage with some additional context here. The original idea of a page builder was we are going to empower people who don't know what they are doing to build websites. That was the original premise of every page builder in existence, okay? For the most part. So the choices that they made, if that's the question you're asking, how do we make it easy for lay people to build websites? If that is the question you are asking, you are going to come to certain answers and conclusions. This is one of them, like giant blocks, giant friendly looking blocks that people can drag onto a page, yada, yada, yada. This has been the layout of every page builder since the beginning of time, essentially, okay? And so right off the bat, it's like, well, yeah, we're just gonna keep doing that. So, there's no innovation here. Now, Oxygen had a section element. Oxygen had a div. Those are fundamental HTML elements. They took those away. Now, another thing we have to talk about. Oxygen's section element was technically and architecturally broken. I talked about this over and over and over again. It had an inner wrapper that the user could not access, which violates the #1 rule of designing a page builder, okay, is do not create boxes the user does not have access to because they cause a tremendous amount of issues, So it violated that. That architectural flaw violated that principle 100%. Then they violated the second rule of sections, which is essentially do not put the padding in the inner wrapper. Put it in the actual section element. And there's a very good reason for this. We established something called the content width of a website. I'm gonna have to pull up bricks to demonstrate this because it's one of the few that actually does it correctly. Let's go to February. That'll work. Okay. I know it's March. We gotta delete that one. We gotta get a new one going. All right, let's get in here. So I go to pages, I go to add new, okay? Let's go section. And this is good. It's gonna be good to compare. First of all, let's just go speed of building. Aren't these tools supposed to speed you up? Okay, look how fast I can add sections. Look at this. Look at all those sections. Look at all those sections. They're gorgeous. They have a section tag. They have an inner container. The outer wrappers flexing. Okay, it's set to flex. It's centering this container. This container is automatically the content width of my website. Okay, so take a look at this. I am going to, I'm gonna put text in here. Okay, you could very clearly see this. The text goes edge to edge of the content width of my website. That is exactly what you want. Not edge to edge of the device, edge to edge of the content width of the website, okay? Now the gutter, where does this gutter come from, okay? This gutter right here, to protect your content from touching the edges of the screen, comes from the section element. This is the only way. Now, Lewis, I wrote an article on this. Lewis specifically said my article was wrong. So, and he said it because he knows he can't fix it in Oxygen. He knows he can't fix it because it would fuck up every website that's ever been built in Oxygen. So because he can't fix it, he said it's wrong. And it is an objective fucking fact. This is not Kevin's opinion. This is not, he's just shitting on it. This is objective fucking fact. If you put the gutter in here, so I have a token called gutter. So I'm gonna go to padding and I'm gonna go gutter. Look, now I'm gonna remove it. I'm gonna remove it from the section. We'll zero out the section. So I go down to mobile, same exact outcome. But here's the thing that people don't see. It's not what you're seeing, it's what you're not necessarily seeing. When you put the padding in the inner container, you change the effective content width of the website. This is now the content width of my website, not what I set the content width of the website to. If I want it to be 1366 and I add padding to the container, it is not 1366 anymore. It's 1366 minus padding times 2. That is what the effective width of the website is. And that throws off a tremendous amount of, first of all, it just doesn't make sense. Second of all, it adds a lot of complications. When you're doing things where you need to calculate the content width of the website or calculate the gutters or whatever, it makes your life tremendously difficult. And that's, by the way, what pros will end up doing when they're building websites. And so they want to avoid those problems. How do you avoid those problems? By not sticking padding inside of your content width container. The other thing that it does is if you go back to Page Building 101, it breaks your box. You never want to break your box. So the minute this thing needs background color on it, okay, background red, okay, we're gonna start to see problems. Now that doesn't go full width right here, okay? So now I've got to compensate for, hold on, this is, my gutter lives in there. Well, if my gutter lives in there, I can't also just willy-nilly use any padding in this box. I'm confined to using a gutter on this box. Or I now have to come out here and add the gutter here where it should have been in the first place so that I can use any padding that I want inside of that box. It breaks the box model. So there are numerous reasons why this is technically incorrect. Lewis said, Kevin's wrong, I'm right, Oxygen's right. That's the way we're gonna keep doing it. He didn't fix it. He didn't acknowledge the facts of the situation and fix it, because he can't. And so what did they do? And I say all this, I bring this up because they had a chance to fix it in Oxy 6 and they didn't. And you know what they did instead? They just said, fuck it, we're not even gonna give them a section. We just won't give them a section. That solves the problem right there. And so now how do you create a section in Oxygen 6? Well, you add a container that gives you, this is not even a container, by the way. Let's pull this up. Let's go to geary.co, okay? Let's go here. Look at this. We're gonna go to this blog. Very important, super important, guys. Super important, okay? Kind of for everybody. A call for better naming conventions and page builders. This article is very, very serious and important. There is so much confusion in the land that we're working in right now. So much blocks, sections, containers, gutters, columns. And I want you to read the actual explanations that these things are not what they are called. Like columns. This is actually a thing in CSS. This is not what no page builder calls columns correctly by what they actually are. It gets down into menus, it gets down into rich text, it gets down into buttons. Oh, buttons is a major violation here. This is a very detailed, okay? It would be really helpful if we could get on the same page with what this stuff is called, okay? But check this out. Container is not a content with element like it is in bricks, like it is in many other, instances of web design, okay? Even like Webflow knows the container goes inside the sections content with your website. They have violated that. They've just said, well, a container is anything. A container is just a box. So they took a box, which is a div, and they called it a container, okay? So they hijacked another name and it's just tremendous amount of confusion. I've got to add this as a section, bang. I've got to come in here. I've got to add another one, okay? And that now what I have to do, because I have two containers, one inside the other, that are the same dimensions. I can't even see both of them on the canvas right now. I don't even know which one I'm selecting, okay? I gotta open the structure panel. I gotta name this section, okay? And probably give it whatever real name I want it to have. But it's just container. There's containers all over the place. No inkling of is that thing actually a section or not? I've gotta look up here in the right-hand corner. So just from a glance perspective of me figuring out what the actual structure of my web page is, I can't really see the structure. I can only see labels. This is like a base level beginner problem that anybody that's used a page builder before who cares about page structure knows the structure panel is supposed to actually tell you what the structure is. It doesn't, okay? And now what I gotta do is I gotta build my own section. So I gotta come in here, I created this earlier, I have to create a section class. Then I have to come in here and I have to put a container class on here that I pre-made earlier, and now I finally arrived at a section. Now let me go back to bricks. And let's just reiterate. Okay, you're trying to work fast. Done deal. One click, done deal. Can you do that in Oxygen? No. You got to add two elements. You got to change the tags. Now, I was highly critical of Gutenberg for doing this exact same thing. Gutenberg gives you the group block. See? It's a container in Oxygen. It's a div over here. It's a group over here. All these tools are just like, whoa, whatever the fuck name we want to use, that's what we'll use, and everybody will have to figure it out. So you add a group, you have to change the tag manually to a section. I said it really sucks that there's no section element in Gutenberg. And you know what? Half the Gutenberg people, Kevin, you could just change the tag. I know. I know, I'm not dumb. I know you can change the tag. My argument is that adding a thing, it's extra clicks. It's lots of extra clicks. Why? Look at this. It's so frustrating to have a fucking solution and they're like, we don't give a fuck about the solution. We just want we want your life to be harder. That's what we're opting for, okay? Look, here it is. There it is. That's exactly what I want. That's exactly what I'm at. Look how easy that is. There it is. Oh my God, that's so nice. And in Gutenberg, they're like, well, that doesn't matter. Just use the group block, change it to a section, add another group block. Why? What's so fucking hard about this? What's so hard about that? It's solved. Why can't we come to an agreement that there's a problem and somebody solved it. Let's use the solution. No. We're gonna do it our way. No. Why? That's so dumb. It's so dumb. It makes no sense. Makes no sense. And so the great innovation of Oxy 6 was, let's be as dumb as Gutenberg. Let's just not give them a section element. Isn't that nice? We won't give them a div either. We'll just give them this generic 100% width blank flex box, and that's all their option is. And then they'll have to do all the work around that. That's the future of page building, is no sections, no divs, just blank containers. The same problem that's existed in Elementor, the same problem that's existed in Gutenberg, the same problem. It's like, why are we copying problems and ignoring solutions? This makes no sense. Makes no sense, okay? We're just getting warmed up. This might go over 90 minutes today. I don't know what to tell you guys. This might go over 90 minutes today. Here's another common problem, okay? I'm gonna make a grid. I'm gonna make a grid. And I wanna go through the process of making a grid with you. Now, I guess what I should do is I should show you making a grid inside of this tool right here, okay? So I'm gonna say this is my grid. Now, I opt for like a CSS first workflow in Bricks. This is an automatic CSS feature. Okay, we're gonna ignore that for now. We're gonna go to the content tab, which, if we're being critical of Bricks, the stuff living in the content tab is ludicrous. It makes no sense whatsoever, but neither here nor there. It's not a deal breaker. So I'm just gonna choose grid as my layout. And I get these simple, clean inputs where I could do something like repeat 3, min max 0, 1 FR. Yeah? Okay, I can do that. I can do that. Now, let's throw some divs in here. 3 divs, there's my grid. I mean, this is as straightforward as it can possibly get. You gave me an input, thank you, and I know what to do with it. Thank you. Now, if we're grading this on, okay, is this a pro level builder? Remember, Oxygen is billed as a pro builder. Breakdance is the beginner builder. So if you're a beginner, you will probably like Breakdance. If you are a pro, you will probably like Oxygen. It is a pro builder. Keep saying that over and over and over again. What would you classify Bricks as? Would you classify Bricks as a pro builder? I classify Bricks as a hybrid builder, okay? That pros can get on with it, and it's not gonna slow them down in ways that many other builders slow them down, but it's not really a it's not like designed for professionals. It's a hybrid tool. It's trying to kind of like make things easier for everybody. But in this instance of like a grid, it's more clearly, I would say, if we're like putting it on a scale, it's on the pro side of the scale, okay? And we're gonna see in Oxy 6 a clear difference here, okay? So we're gonna go in, and here we're going to try to create our grid. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna say my grid, okay? So here is my grid. And did I already create a my grid? Let's just delete this in case. I wanna start from scratch, okay? My grid. Now, my premise I have to add more context to why it's hard to be nice. It's hard to be nice because when we pre-launched Etch, one of the things we said was it is very, very important to us because we think it's very, very important in the realm of software development to build the tool with users so that users can use it along the way, because you end up making lots of architectural decisions that are hard to change later and expensive to change later. And you can't just say, my opinions, my personal opinions is how it's going to be, okay? You have to build with users so that users are involved and they can give you their perspective on things as the tool is developed and these major architectural decisions are being made. Oxygen, the original version, did not do that. Breakdance did not do that. Oxygen 6.0 did not do that. This is a team that refuses to involve creators in the development process, like myself, like Jonathan, like any of the former Oxygen users. This is a team that refuses to involve you, the customer, in the process. And therefore, when you take the road of refusing to involve people who could solve these problems as they happen, you are 100% responsible for these problems existing. And you have to take the criticism for the fact that they exist, period. You can't exclude everybody and build something in the dark of night and then go, oh, it's beta, just be patient. Fuck that. We could have fixed this months ago, years ago. I don't know how long this has taken. These are things that could have absolutely been fixed along the way. And now we're just supposed to tolerate them with like a smile on our face because you did things the way you want to do them. That's why I say it's a disrespectful offering. You got a team that I don't even think they build websites anymore. So they're out of touch with how web development actually works in 2025. And then they just completely shut everybody out and build in the dark of night and then hand it to you and you're supposed to like clap like seals or something. Thank you. Thank you. So this is just so fantastic. I just can't wait to help you fix all these atrocious bugs and workflow issues. And eventually we'll have something that's maybe really good. And you know how much criticism I got for, guys, we can't show you anything because we have to build it with the people in order to show you something. And they just shit all over me for that. And now they see though, and now they're gonna see, as we say in Atlanta, you gonna learn today, okay? You gonna learn today why we did it the way that we did it. And you're seeing this now of why it should be done that way. Because this is the birth child of what happens when you develop in the dark of night with nobody's inputs and only your own little opinions, okay? This is exactly what happens. It's exactly what I warned about. So go back to the track record. If anybody's keeping score, just put another fucking point on my side, okay? This is exactly what happens. Let's get on with creating a grid. I'm gonna go, let's see, display. Here we go, display. First of all, the juxtaposition between what is a label and what is a button. I mean, you gotta study. You gotta study this with your eyes, right? At a glance, it's very difficult. We're gonna hit grid. So the first layer, I like flipping back and forth because you can clearly see. Let's back this up. Back it up, Terry. Back it up, Terry, okay? When I elected to have this layout as a grid in bricks, what happened? Actually, let's just take that off because this was the original thing that you saw. So you see it's flex by default. You got all your flex controls, which trust me, I could harp on this right here. I hate this. I hate it. Okay, it's not a deal breaker. I don't like it. It's not a deal breaker. Okay, but look, I'm gonna go my grid. What is the first layer of controls that bricks offers me? Because the UI changes when I apply a grid. Okay, so I apply a grid. Look how the UI, you see that? The UI changed. So Bricks' development team was saying, okay, what are we gonna offer them when they elect to have a layout as a grid? This is what they offer us. Now, as a user, I mean, whether I'm doing repeat, 3, min max, 0, 1FR, done. Whether I'm doing 1FR, 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 which I would never do, which we're gonna talk about in just a minute. Whether I'm doing grid 3 and auto-completing my variable thanks to automatic CSS. Do you see how accessible and fast and quick that workflow is, okay? Now, what am I offered in the Pro Builder called Oxygen 6? I am offered this. I am offered cute little toggles for just like, oh, I just tick, 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 okay? Now, what is the output? See, what did I say? It's not what you see, it's what you may not see. It's not what you see at first glance, it's what you may not see at first glance, okay? I'm gonna save this. I'm gonna go to the front end. How do I get to the front end? Okay, open a new tab. I love the extra choices. I don't know, I thought the arrow was gonna take me to the front end and gave me additional choices. Let's go and inspect. Okay, there's my section, only because I made it. Okay, what most users are gonna do is they're just gonna add a bunch of containers. They're gonna have divs everywhere. It's gonna be a nightmare. Okay, so this is my grid right here. Grid template columns, 1FR, 1FR, 1FR. So the first layer that they offered me was the nice, cute little, just tick it up, just tick, 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 publish, right? What does it output? It outputs code that I would never write. I would never write 1FR, 1FR, 1FR. If you've ever done anything with grid, you understand that there is the potential for creating grid overflow issues, okay? Grid overflow issues are solved by min-max functions. And so any competent user writing CSS grid tends to use min-max functions rather than just naked 1FR variables, okay? And so automatic CSS uses, for example, the repeat 3 min-max 0 1FR. That's what it uses because that prevents overflow issues, okay? And other semblances of layout issues. So the Oxygen builder, right, in this format, this first layer of grid, outputs code that I would never write, which means I can't use that layer. This layer, which is the first layer offered to me, is useless. I would never use it. I would never use this UI. And I could have told them this a month into development. I gotta say, I'm sorry, I'm never doing it that way. Unless you fix the output, I'm never doing it that way, okay? Now, even if it did output the right thing, it's too limited. It's far too limited for what we're doing versus the bricks system, which I could do many, many, many things. Many, many, many things if I know what I'm doing. Many, many, because a lot of times I'm going auto grid 1, right? I'm doing auto this, 45 characters this, and then I'm doing a min-max function over here. I can't do any of that here. I can't do any of that here. Not in their first layer. Okay, so already I'm slower. Already I'm less efficient. Already I have an irrelevant UI layer that's being offered to me, which again, if you involve the creator in the process, if you involve the fucking single user that knows what they're doing maybe they could point this out. If you weren't out of touch with reality, if you weren't copying Webflow's exact UI for half this shit, okay? You're probably gonna notice the similarity between a lot of these panels. Do I tell you? It was, hey, just take Breakdance's architecture, marry it to Webflow's UI, you got Oxygen 6, okay? Honestly, I don't even know what the grid UI is. But look at that, I mean, you recognize this? You guys recognize this area right here? You recognize that? Okay, you recognize this? Anybody recognize this? See, this is what Webflow, this was good. This was a good UI in 2019, not in 2025. It's not a good UI. The idea that you would take a multi-year out-of-date UI and go, that's the fucking future right there. Just bake that in. But sir, you know, maybe there's some problems. No, just bake it in. Just use that. Just go with that. It's good. It's good. That's the future. Okay. Okay. It's not what you see. It's what you might not see. Okay. Let me keep reminding you of this. I see things that other people may not see. Now, let's go back into where we were. Where were we? Well, if layer 1 of the UI offering doesn't work, what about layer 2? Maybe layer 2 solves, maybe an extra click will solve my problems. So I'm gonna click this little cog right here. I'm gonna click this little cog right here, and I'm gonna get this, okay? A click produced a UI that requires more clicks, okay? I had to click to get to the UI that allows me to do more clicks. I'm just talking speed efficiency here, but we're still not, I mean, there's 4 layers to this, okay? So if you're on the popcorn band, you might want to throw another one in the microwave. Now, I'm gonna hit columns right here because that's what I want. That's another click. There's click costs here. And I get this thing called 1FR. Now, what they actually want you to do for a 3-column grid, perhaps, is go click, click again. And that's gonna give you 3 1FRs. Now, I'm gonna save this. We're gonna go here. We're gonna refresh. There's no hot reload, okay? I mean, why would you do 2025 things in 2025? You gotta reload it manually. Same output. Okay, so I went through a second layer. I did not get what I wanted. I got the same output as the first layer, okay? So that was all for naught. Now, the question is, can I manipulate these things? Well, I'm gonna hover them, and I can see I can move them. I can see I can duplicate them. I can see I can trash them. I'm actually gonna trash the first 2. There is no visual indication that you can also click it, okay? So I'm gonna click it, and I'm gonna get a modal. And that modal is gonna give me a cute little slider for fractional values. I don't want that. Who the fuck, what professional would use this? What, you think professionals are gonna come in and just willy-nilly fucking throw thumbs around on a slider? Well, what is this? What is this even for? If I wanted a fractional unit, couldn't I just type it into an input? I'm sorry, let me flip back to bricks. Can I not do that? That seems pretty straightforward and simple. What, I gotta go 3 layers deep to do that? Okay, hold on, but that's still not what I want. Guys, I want a repeat 3, min, max, 0, 1 FR function. That's all I want. That's like a nice 3-column grid. That's all I want. How do I get to it? Well, there is still a pathway. We're not done with the layers. You gotta click the FR right here. And now we get the old 2015 unit dropdown, which I just said, by the way, in Etch that we will never have. None of this shit will exist. This is not, no professional wants to use this. This is an atrocious UX. But I can come all the way down to custom. And now, finally, I'm sorry, what am I doing? Repeat 3, min, max, finally. Now, you need to make another grid, do all that dance again. You need to make another grid? Oh, I see you're making a lot of grids. You want to keep doing that dance over and over and over and over again. My Lord. Even down to, well, you would say, Kevin, use a variable, right? Of course I want to use a variable, of course. I don't even know how do we get back? Okay, you got to undo the cog. See this little plus sign? This is what allows you to choose variables, okay? Where did that idea come from? A lot of people would be like, man, that's kind of ingenious right there. They create a little hover icon. That's nice, it's small, it doesn't take up a lot of space. Okay, can I get to a, oh God, you're gonna see in a minute. It's a direct fucking one-to-one. Okay, I hate, do you see these arrows that pop up? Look, it's for this. No Webflow. No user, no professional in their right mind is willy-nilly dragging values. And it gets in the way of actually clicking in the box. I don't know why oh, there it is. Oh, that's where that came from. That's where that innovation came from, right? That's what Webflow did to help their users apply variables to inputs. Okay, this is not new. There's nothing fresh here. There's nothing fresh. Let me go back, all right? So yes, you can create a variable, all right? Let's go in and let's do that. Let's do that. Where do we even go? Do these things have tooltips? No, you get to play the game of what's behind the icon. It's a very fun game. It gets old very quickly. It is initially a little fun, but it gets old very quickly. What is behind you have to click the icons to find out what's behind them. You click here. There's a bunch of icons right here. Do you have any idea what any of these do? Oh, by the way, I will direct your attention to this area. Because when I hover these, that's when I actually get a tooltip. The problem is the tooltip is way up there and that side. So that's not as helpful. But yeah, okay, let's go back and let's do a variable. Now, people are gonna be like, Kevin's just shitting on it. He just doesn't like his competitors. You tell me, how objective are these arguments? How objective? Rate the objectiveness of these arguments on a scale of 1 to 10 in the chat. I think it's pretty rock solid. Let's go add a variable. Let's go add probably a unit variable. Yeah. None? There's a lot of clicks. None? What's the difference between none and custom? I don't know. We have to figure that out. Repeat 3, min, max, 0, 1, FR. Okay? All right, let's go grid 3. All right, I think I've created a variable. I'm gonna click on the canvas real quick. I want you to see a little something, okay? Uh-oh. Oh no, okay. So technically speaking, the variables panel is not inside of the builder instance that you are working on. It is effectively a sub magic area, okay? Now I don't have to leave the builder to get to it, but it is a workflow that is happening outside of the builder instance that you are currently in, which means if you add a bunch of them and you click the canvas and you don't read this message completely and you just are kind of moving quickly, you will lose all of your work. It is not a situation, like you have to save what's happening in that one panel before you can do anything else. A little bit dangerous, a little bit annoying, because what if I need to click something to kind of see what variable I need to create for it? You can't. It's like a pseudo magic area where you have to always save, then you can click something on the canvas and look at it, and then you can go back to the pseudo magic area. Not fantastic. You have unsaved changes to your video. Okay, so we'll save. Let's just see if we can get on with this. All right, so we will clear this out. Now I can click this. Oh, shit. Why isn't it there? Well, again, this is not all happening. This is not very etchy, okay? It's again, that happened in the builder, it's the same problem. The builder doesn't know that variable exists. I'm gonna save, I gotta refresh the builder, okay? So now we'll come back in, we'll select my grid, we will build, oh fuck. Okay, let's go back to, I mean, where, do I have to put it in, where do I have to put it? What do I have to do to make it work? Collection 1, I don't know. What is it supposed, does anybody know? Does anybody know? The way Kevin shits on everything, etches better be revolutionary, a Tony Stark level site building technology. No, actually it doesn't. I mean, it is, but it doesn't have to be because the bar's so fucking low. God, this is such a, stop being impressed by bars you can just step over. Like, it's ridiculous. This is 2025, copying stuff from 2019. It's a very low bar, honestly. But, you know, we are truly actually innovating. Move your head to the left. Why? Okay, let's do that. What was I covering up? Was I covering up something? Okay. Yeah, Jason says, but this is their third builder. They have the know-how to do what is right, but didn't. Exactly. There is context to the, this is not like a team's first offering. This is a team's fourth offering, and this is a team that purposefully excludes people from participating in the process, okay? And that to me, you are electing to like, hey, fair game, like, cause we didn't involve you. So yeah, if there's issues, like that's on us. Gotta keep this stuff in context. I'm just reading the chat real quick. So this is the comment, I can't stand this shit. Chill, my guy, it's the first beta. No, stop it. Stop making excuses. You can't work on something for 2 years where you took an architecture, they didn't steal it because they built it, but they took the architecture from Breakdance and then they did steal the UI from Webflow and they mushed them together with zero attention to detail, zero attention to solving known problems. And then they shipped it to you, and because they slapped a beta label on it, by the way, they excluded you from the entire process, so you couldn't fix this stuff along the way. And because they slapped a beta label on it, all like, oh, just chill, my guy, just chill. Stop it, stop it. Like, this is bad behavior. This is bad behavior in the dev space. Good behavior in the dev space says, hey, we don't want this thing to just be based on our opinions. We want to involve our customers in the dev process. We want to involve other experts in the dev process. We want everybody's feedback. We want to have arguments on how this stuff should actually work. We want to have debates on what the best way to do this stuff is. And we want to build something that's actually special. That's what a dev, if they're going to take your money, that's what they should be saying. And when you have a team that says exactly the opposite, fuck the creators, fuck the customers, we do what we want, we're just gonna take our existing architecture and this other company's UI, we're gonna mesh them together, we're gonna give it to you, and you better fucking like it. That's what you're defending. That's the philosophy, the dev philosophy that you're defending. Okay. All right, let's take note of that. Let's take note. For anybody that's keeping score, let's take note. Yeah, 2 years is a long ass dev time, especially what people see. When people see what can happen in 6 months, they're gonna, I'm telling you. The reason I can say this stuff with confidence is because I already know what's coming. You might not know what's coming. I know what's coming. I know what can be done in 6 months now and what can't be done in 6 months now. A lot of people are going to be left scratching their head. A lot of people are going to be very confused. When they see what can be done in 6 months, they're going to be very confused, okay? So you may want to hold the opinion. You may want to hold your opinions on my opinions. All right. I'll take your word for it when I see a single screenshot of Etch. You don't have to take my word for it. Rovered, the people that were smart enough to say, look at the track record of this team. I think I'm going to buy in early so I get the best deal. And so I get to be part of the process. And so see all the people, now I'm going to give you a chance. Buying in March is better than buying last September, 100% for sure. I mean, buying in March is better than buying next September. Okay. It's definitely not better than buying last September, but this September, when it comes again, buying in March is going to be much better than buying in September. I guarantee you. And this time around, you will get to see something, but you can't say that. You can't say, I'll take your word for it. Well, why don't you take the word of the 1,500 people who are already looking at it and already using it? Because their word is pretty is pretty cohesive. Okay, it's just crazy though. But it's Rovered. I'm just speaking to Rovered. I don't care if you buy it in March or September, or I would actually like it for you, Rovered, if you're a patient buyer. I would love for you to buy it 3 years from now when it's 3 times the price. That would still work for me. Because it's going to be successful up to that point, and then your 3 times the amount will make it even more so, right? I'm not. The tool is going to do the convincing. I don't have to do the convincing. Okay. All right. So now we got our 3-column grid. I still can't get a variable. I'm just going to make it here. New variable, grid 3, repeat. I can't type in the box. It only accepts a number. Something else I could have identified as a problem in 5 minutes. And this wouldn't be a problem now. But Kevin, it's got a beta label. Kevin, just be patient. It's got a beta. When our MVP is better than their beta, what then? What then? Dear Lord. Let's make a component. Let's make a component. I want to talk more about speed and performance and such. We know that builders have performance issues. We know Oxygen has had a lot of performance issues in the past. We know Bricks has performance issues on large, complex pages. We know it's kind of plagued builders. This needs a container class because the container doesn't actually behave like a container until you give it a container class. Let's make a button. Okay. All right. We're going to make a button component. We're going to make a button component. We're going to call this my button. We're going to instantly make it a component. Oh, the other thing I hate. The other thing I just hate. And this is not an Oxygen hate. I hate Oxygen because they copied it, but it's a general hate. This is my structure panel. Yeah, I need to see the structure of my page at all times. It's just the thing. Anybody working on a complex page, you have to be able to see the structure of your page at all times. I click on this, I lose the structure panel. I'm adding to my structure that I can no longer see. I'm adding elements to the structure of the page that I can no longer see. I can no longer see the structure. I have to choose. Do you want to see the structure, or do you want to add things to the structure? This is the Gutenberg UX. This is the #1 complaint I have of Gutenberg, that your structure panel does not persist. That no matter what you do, you lose your structure panel at all times, just doing your general daily workflow. And it is the single biggest annoyance of Gutenberg. And did they fix that with Oxy 6? No. No, they were just like, oh, let's just also do that. Let's just do that exact thing. Just whatever the biggest complaint is, let's just do that. That's what it seems like is happening. Okay, so let's go in and try to, because I have to get to the structure panel to make it a fucking component. So I'm gonna right click and I'm gonna save this as a component. We're gonna say button. We'll say my button. Okay, save. Okay, save. It is, in fact, a component. Let's try editing this component. I'm going to hit edit component. Oh, can't do that here. Cannot do that here. That's, it requires a little bit of magic. Therefore, you need to save what you're doing. I would advise you to save before you lose your work. And we're going to have to take you somewhere else. Okay? We're going to have to take you to a magic area. And now you can't see your component in the context of where the component is actually being used. You have to build it on a blank canvas. Okay? It does have the My Button class still, which is nice. So let's add some spacing. Okay? Oh dear. Oh shit. Okay. Tried to click in there. Got an arrow. I can't even get the arrow in the end. Okay, now I can click, but I don't want pixels, guys. I don't want pixels. I would like to use a spacing variable. Maybe we can make one of those here. Add spacing. Yes, that's what I want to do. Space M. I want to use a clamp function. Let's go custom. Let's go clamp. Okay. I don't know what my clamp is going to be. I don't know. One rim, one VW, two rim. I don't fucking know. I'm just making shit up. Okay. All right. So now I've used that there. I'm going to try to use that variable here. I got to double click into the box. Then I got to hit the plus sign. Then I got to come down here and choose that now. Okay. Now I'm using that there. Okay. Oh, wait, I'm not using it in the top. What is this up here? What is happening up here? That's in the margin, but I don't want that in the margin. Oh, dear. Fuck. It's showing me the computed value. I don't want to know the computed value. I want to see what token I'm using. What is happening? Let's try to add it over here. Holy smokes. Yikes. You wanted to see the yikeses. If you came for the yikeses, it's almost like this kind of layout is not really suitable to tokens, is it? Well, why are we copying Webflow? Webflow wasn't designed in the era of a tokenized workflow. Of course the UI doesn't work for tokens. This is what happens when you copy a UI that's fucking 5 years out of date. Okay, I don't even know if is it on the top of the button? Okay, let's go to background. Let's just add a background. I got a primary color in here. Okay, let's go to typography. I'm in another. Okay, let's just do FFF. We just got to get on with this. Okay, let's save. I don't want it to be underlined. Can I remove the underline with none? Okay, we can do that. All right. Woosah. Look at this. What? Oh, how did I get? You see what the arrows? There's a little problem with the arrows. Is it 0? What is it? Okay, I don't know. I give up. Let's put okay, well, let's just go back. Can I go back? Where, first of all, I can go up here, test page. I got to go back to where I was. There's my button. There it is. Oh dear. What is it in that it's not affecting the height of the container? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Let's just duplicate. I need a couple. You make something a component and now you live in the land of the 3-second wait. Duplicate, I swear, if you were on the last Etch call, by the way, Etch already has components. By the way, Etch already has the first iteration of component conditions for component variants. You can duplicate 5 buttons in the amount of time it takes to duplicate 1 button. I just click duplicate. I'm gonna duplicate a lot of them. Oh, I can't. Let's try duplicating them over here. This is a blank page, my friends. I am concerned for, like, what will the weight be when it's a complex page? Let's look. I know people want to move on to Builderius. I want to show you one more thing. So we know we need query loops. We know we need dynamic data. We know we try to build scalable, maintainable websites. We got a post loop builder. I'm just gonna open the post loop builder. Okay, can I put anything inside the loop and just repeat it like I can in bricks, like I can in any other builder with a decent repeater? No, you have to make everything a component. You wanna do a card? It's gotta be a component. You wanna do anything? It's gotta be a component, okay? Which, by the way, you now live in the land of magic areas. You are now always going to a magic area to edit whatever you are doing, because it has to be a component in order to loop it. That is your only option. What about the repeater field? Repeater field, surely I can just put whatever I want inside of it. Can I just drag a button into the repeater and start? No. If the button is a component, you could choose the component and you can repeat the component. Can you put multiple components inside the repeater and repeat multiple? No. The repeater, Oxygen's repeater already had problems. Like the 4X version already had problems. They made it worse. Why? Because this is Breakdance's architecture. Breakdance was not built for professionals, but we are using its architecture, which means the loop limitations of the Breakdance architecture, which was designed for beginners, now affects Oxygen. You have those same limitations. All of the terrible loop limitations in Breakdance now by default exist in Oxygen. You cannot loop whatever you want to loop. You can only loop single one-off components. But Kevin, it's a beta. The repeater can't repeat. Yeah, I know. Yeah, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of problems. Okay. This I will just reiterate, in my opinion, okay, it is disrespectful to do this to your customer base. You had the opportunity, because people make decisions based on hope. Staying with I am hopeful that this company, like this is why a lot of people are with bricks. I am hopeful because Thomas listens. I am hopeful because he has a good semblance of a roadmap. I am hopeful, right? You say, I am hopeful that SoFly is good. And what SoFly does is they repeatedly say, we will produce what we want to produce. You will not be a part of the process. You will not be prioritized as a user. Your opinions, your needs, your wants, your wishes, your feedback is not important enough to us to involve you. We will give you what we give you, and you will smile, and you will like it, and you will pay again and again. Now, I know some of you, the LTD, I got the LTD, Kevin, I got this for free. But wouldn't you rather have something truly way better, truly innovative? It feels like heart and soul and thought and effort was actually baked into it. You have to weigh against alternatives. In life, there are hard costs and there are opportunity costs. And too many people, I don't know if it's an IQ issue, I don't know what the issue is, but they only look at hard costs. Well, Kevin, I was given it for free because I bought that LTD a long time ago. They gave me this for free. It's just a bonus. But the opportunity cost is you are bankrupt now. You are bankrupt in terms of opportunity cost, right? Because you stuck with it. And first of all, you didn't even know it was coming, but you had some semblance of hope or something. And then they gave you a beginner architecture with somebody else's UI, with none of the problems solved, worse repeaters, worse loops, worse everything. And then they want you to be happy about that. They want you to be excited about that. They have the nerve to say the 5-year-old UI it's been out of date for 5 years, honestly. Been out of date, that and then this beginner architecture that we already had sitting around on the shelf over here. This is your future. This is your future in WordPress. And by the way, don't criticize it because we did slap a beta label on it. That's not acceptable to me. I don't know why that's acceptable to some customers. That's not acceptable. I would never do that. We have never done that to my customers. Automatic CSS, it was my opinion that it had to be rewritten and redesigned. Nobody said, people were just like, man, this is working for me, it's fine. It was my opinion that it had to be rebuilt and redesigned because I knew that it could be so much better. And so we invested $100,000 rebuilding it from the ground up, re-architecting it, redesigning it, adding, like bringing it into what we thought was the next era of that, doing a UI and a workflow that nobody else was doing at the time with any semblance of a framework. Getting rid of all the things that I harped about, the magic areas and the da-da-da-da-das. Okay? That's what we do. Then with Etch, I said, actually, I could have started a builder 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, at any point along the way. People know, anybody that's been around since 2022, where people were like, Kevin, build a builder, Kevin, do a builder, Kevin, do a builder. And I said, no, no, no. Why? Because at the time, I didn't have a concept in my mind for something that would be fundamentally different. And I had a concepts of, it would be a little bit better if we did this. It would be a little bit better if we did this. It would be a little bit better if we did this. But that always gets a no. We don't build shit that's a little bit better, because customers deserve more than, I mean, we could just collect the checks and ship you something that's a little bit better. Like I said a minute ago, the bar is you could just step over the bar right now. You don't have to hop. You don't have to skip. Fuck a high jump. You don't have to hop or skip. You could just step over the bar right now. We're not willing to do that. We're not willing to ask people to spend a lot of money and then hope and have opportunity costs and everything else that comes along with it. And then the cost of switching. There's a tremendous cost of switching platforms. Does this get you to switch from bricks? No. I guess, well, first of all, it's worse. But like, even if it was a little bit better, would it get you to switch? No. No. We're not going to ask people to undergo those costs unless it's fundamentally and like literally a new era is being ushered in. That is, now we would like your money. Now we would like you to endure the cost of switching. Now we would like you to get on board with us. When we have the vision and the concept, that's when we ask. Not before then. This is a money grab. This is the lowest common denominator of shipping something to say you have it and to have a foot in that side of the market, which, by the way, Lewis did say on the live stream, this is all public information, Lewis said on the live stream that that's not a profitable market. They didn't want to rebuild Oxygen because there's no money there. The money is in beginners. That was essentially the takeaway from the live stream. Okay? I want to be fair to Builderius. We gotta move on. Okay? We're done. We're done with this. I will keep up. I do need to keep up bricks for a minute. By the way, people, they're like, does Kevin say good things about, anything? Are there examples? How many good things have I said about bricks? How long have I been by Bricks' side? How many copies of bricks do you think I've sold? Okay? Are there problems with bricks? Of course. Are there going to be problems with Etch? Of course. No builder is perfect. No builder is perfect. But what I see from bricks is I see a dev team that is highly responsive. I see a dev team that clearly cares. Now, I would like to see more from, like, I would like to see more transparency. I would like to see more of Thomas. But I understand, like, great actors, right? In the space, not actors in like fake, but just like, people behaving in the space. I like what I see there. Okay. It's an Era 3 tool. It is the best Era 3 tool still to this day, in my opinion. It is an Era 3 tool. So there's that, right? But yes, I mean, if you're like, well, Kevin just shits on everything. No, I actually don't. Quickly. Now, when I did my very first look of Quickly, I was very thrown off by the icon-only UI. I really hated it. I was also thrown off. I had a bad taste in my mouth because it existed in Gutenberg, which already annoyed me, okay? And that's Gutenberg's fault, not Quickly's fault. But very quickly, I hate that name because I can't even fucking say it without a pun. You can't not pun it when you're talking about it. But I started to see Lewis's passion. I'm talking about the Quickly Lewis now. I started to see Lewis's passion. I started to see his technical proficiency. I started to see how personally involved and invested he was. And I started to see the underlying power in a lot of what Quickly was doing and a lot of ways that they identified clear problems with the Gutenberg UX and UI and identified clear issues and limitations with other page builders on the market. And they were actively working to solve those problems. And I very quickly started supporting Quickly. And then we integrated ACSS into Quickly. Spent, by the way, probably $10,000 plus integrating that into Quickly, okay? And started to praise Quickly and started to tell people, yeah, that's a great option. If you don't mind the Gutenberg workflow, I would say that's our number 2 tool right now behind Bricks. I started praising Quickly in so many capacities. Okay, because I do, when I see that objective reality of the stuff that actually matters, it piques my interest. And I want to support it. I want to support it. I am not gonna support a money grab. I'm not gonna support just fucking slapping shit together and keeping a low bar on everything. That's not what I'm here to support. It's not what we're here to do. And yes, it is highly unfortunate that Quickly disappeared. And if you want to go back and find the live stream where I got on and everybody, I said, if you bought Quickly because of me, I have a voucher for you. And you can use that voucher to get ACSS or frames or the inner circle I think we did, like anything you want. I have a voucher waiting for you. And hundreds of people took me up on that voucher. And we stood behind it and we gave it to them. And that was I'm sorry. Like, I misread the situation. I thought they were here for the long term, and they're not. So that's on me. And I took responsibility for it, and I gave a voucher for it. That's what we do. That's what we do, okay? All right, so let's go into Builderius. Now, I warned you the oxygen side was not gonna be nice. So we're gonna take a sip of water. We're gonna clear our brain. We're gonna clear our palate. We are going to make our way into Builderius. Okay, now the one downside of this is their pro elements are not ready yet. I was really interested in their pro elements. I wanted to see the pro elements. Nevertheless, we can only do what we can do. I can't wait for the same kind of live stream about bricks when Etch drops. Let's wait and see. I could do a comparison. For sure. It wouldn't have any animosity behind it like the way that it does because Bricks is not a disrespectful offering. Bricks is an Era 3 tool. It's trying to be a bunch of things to a bunch of different people. It is what it is. The idea that, like, here's the thing. You build a new tool, you're trying to innovate. You look at all of the problems and limitations of existing tools and then you resolve them. Then people are like, but you can't tell us why. Don't do a video telling us why you resolved the problems or, because then you're just harping on problems. Then you're just harping. What, I mean, if you don't know why the thing was innovated and you don't know why we went from this way to that way, what do you want me to do? Like, it's the dumbest rule on planet Earth. We'll just harp on what your builder does good. How do you know it's good if you didn't know what was bad? If you don't know what's bad about that way, how do you know this way is better? But then, so I start explaining the detail. Oh, he's just shitting on the other tools. No, I'm just communicating the thought process that went into going from this thing to that thing. It's the dumbest rule on art. It's just so. By the way, the people who always say these kind of things, 0 products, 0 videos, 0 education in the space. What are you doing to further what we're all doing? Not much. Just going, it's not fair to criticize the other tools. Okay, sure. All right, let's add something. By the way, I'm not a fan of panels covering panels. Let's just make a general rule of like, my panel shouldn't cover your panel, right? Okay. I want to make a section. Oh, it exists. I'm gonna add it. Okay, it's a section with a container inside of it. Let's put something in the container so we can see some semblance of something on the page. Okay, let's go with a heading. Let's go. Okay. I'm going to try to command click heading. I just want to, nope. I'm going to try to option click heading. Nope. I'm going to try to control click heading. Nope. Okay. What I'm looking for, this is why I like to have bricks up. What are you guys noticing? You guys notice something? What are you noticing that I cannot do right here? These are things I look for because immediately I know what slows down workflows and what speeds up workflows, okay? Oh, shift, okay, good. I'm glad Builderius is here. Glad they're here, okay? All right, let's try shift. Sorry, I tried every keyboard shortcut except shift. Okay, good, perfect. All right, there is a pathway to doing that. All right, they automatically knew what I was talking about. All right, let's start over. I do think it's very interesting to see the main and the page content wrapper, which you cannot see in any other builder. And that actually could come in quite handy. Let's go add a section. Okay, and the next thing I'm gonna test is there a shortcut for delete? Is there a shortcut for delete? I've tried a couple of them and I'm not getting anything. Okay, what I'm looking for is, it doesn't have, I would put your shortcuts, if I'm just giving you a little tip, in the context menu right there. No, okay. Well, we need a shortcut for delete. Let's go add, do I hold shift? How do I choose to make this a child? There we go. Okay, it's command, it looks like. Command makes it a child. So if I shift command, I get a heading and I get to keep my, it's a little bit of a, it's a lot of gymnastics over here with my fingers, but it'll work, I guess. So let's go with a text paragraph and a link. Okay, now we're rocking and rolling. All right. One thing that I did not criticize in Oxygen that you will not see me criticize is general. So there is a initial layer of, it's called a familiarization layer. There is a learning curve of familiarization in any UI. And you will never see me just outright start to criticize things that fall into the familiarity bucket, where it's like, where is this thing? Or what's the actual shortcut for doing this? Yada, yada. Those are familiarizations. If you notice, what I criticized in Oxygen was major architectural issues, major UI decision issues, and then within the context of, because they copied an outdated thing and they didn't even put any thought or care or effort into it, they deserve the criticism, right? But if it falls into the familiarity bucket, that is a thing, nobody can criticize anything that falls into the familiarity bucket because it exists with any UI on the planet. Any UI on the planet has a level of familiarization that has to happen. Okay, I'm gonna save. I'm just gonna go to the front end and take a look-see at what we've got so far. What's actually going on here? Let's publish this to live. I think I should hit the eyeball. Okay, let's inspect and let's go in. So we've got our section. I'm not super stoked about these classes, okay? I wanna see, okay, so there's a section padding block and a section padding inline already being applied. There's no ACSS here. This is the builder. This is the builder doing the builder things. I did read, I haven't looked at it. I did read that there's like almost like a starter framework, which obviously like somebody like me, I would delete that, right? I don't even know, selectors, CSS vars. Okay, that's a lot. That's a lot. Is there a way to remove? Like, but I don't want to remove it all, maybe. Where's section? I don't see section. Oh, there it is. Okay. What happens if I delete those? Obviously, I'm going to lose that, but I guess they just don't exist at all, but what is it outputting? Okay, it's outputting blank versions of them. Not awful. Like I'm kind of on the fence about this. I was asking this question the other day. I've been contemplating it, whether you want to use dummy variables or not, right? It now exists as like a dummy token where the browser doesn't actually process this. It just ends up with like a 0 value. But it can cause specificity issues because you are declaring something. Now you're declaring it at the element level, which is a very low specificity. I would love to see it declared much like this or in a layer where it's literally 0. So it's a 0, 0, 0 specificity, or it's just in a layer that has no influence over other CSS that's happening. But generally speaking, I mean, if I came in and tried to override section styling with ACSS or something, it would now come down to loading order. Actually, ACSS would lose because ACSS applies element styling with no specificity. So right off the bat, we would have a problem with ACSS because it would lose. Whereas if this was in a layer or it was whered, ACSS would not lose. So if it has any specificity at all, it is potentially causing a problem. Okay, you could just edit the style CSS. All right, I'm gonna go back in section here. Okay, let's add a, you mean right here? No, this is just the HTML tag style. Okay, there is a root, so you are styling all sections right here, apparently. I don't know. I don't know if this root applies to that ID class or if it actually applies to the section. So we are going to find out. These are the things that I explore. You know, most users are like, can I add a block to a page? Can I explore like, we got to go much, I already assume you can drag something onto the page, right? I want to see the output. I want to see the architecture. I want to see the logic. I want to see different things, okay? So I'm gonna apply a style to this. Let's go with spacing. And let's go with 5M. Oh, look, we don't have the problem. Okay. We could talk about this architecturally. I don't like that happening. I don't like the stripping and the moving of the unit. And I actually, if you're in the Etch community, I literally a couple days ago, like just maybe yesterday, just put a long thing about how we are going to provide blank inputs and no unit selectors, no unit parsing, none of that, okay? Because it's not necessary. 2, it adds a lot of complexity to the architecture and it interferes with a lot of things. Here's a interference. Actually, they've solved it a little bit in the fact that it comes back when I click it. We could go back into Oxygen and see that this does not happen. Where once it strips it, you are left with a unitless value, which means you cannot then copy it and paste it to other inputs. Fucking nightmare. And again, something I could have identified in 5 minutes and told them, don't do that. Nope, you got to fix that. Before you ship that to the public, you better fix that, right? At least here, you get it back. So it strips it, but then you get it back. See, now I can copy it and paste it, right? So they saw that as a potential problem and already accounted for it, which is good to see. I do say that is good to see. So we've got some of that there. Let's just go look on the front end now. We're gonna go back and we're gonna see what has happened. What had happened was, all right, so there you go. So we just got our answer. Don't really like that. I don't really like 0 to 0 because there's no reason for this to be 0 to 0 specificity. Now, you get in an architectural discussion about should we let the user style the actual HTML element here? Lots of users might get confused. Their styling might keep changing, yada, yada, yada. Okay, well, if it's a pro, if you're designing for pro, they're not going to get confused. It would be a learning curve for beginners. You could create a different area for doing this potentially. But if you are going to have this root selector style a class, just have it style one class, right? Not a combo class, not a 0 to 0 situation. I would also like to see, this is the output. Actually, I would like to see, this is what we're going to output. That's what we're going to output. We've been talking about this architecturally, right? Because logical properties is like the next era. The next era of, if we're a next era tool, logical properties is the next era. ACSS uses logical properties. I don't know if you can change the output, like you can opt into logical property. I don't know, but I would output logical properties. Okay, let's do a background and let's do, let's make a token. I would like to be able to make a token from this right here. Because if I, like, there's something that doesn't exist, it tells me it's not found. It'd be nice if I had a pathway to making it from there. Now, these are primary that I didn't add. I would, obviously using ACSS, we want to use our own. I don't know what the pathway is right now to doing that, but there's no secondary, for example. I would like to make it. So I have to basically go womp womp, right? And I have to like probably go somewhere else. So now it's going to be, let's go over here. New variable. Oh, I got to upgrade. Yeah, see, they got me with the pro. Okay. I got to get out my checkbook. Elvis, I didn't bring my checkbook, my man. I don't know. No, I did buy it. Listen, I bought Builderius. I bought Builderius Pro. And not like these other mofos that buy ACSS, like these other developers. I'm telling you right now, there's developers out there. I'm not gonna call them out. Don't worry. Nobody needs to know their name. But they buy ACSS. They buy frames just so they can play with it and use it and figure it out and dissect it and backwards, da-da-da. And then they ask for a refund. And then, so they just get it and they don't pay. And I know they're a dev. And I know they have competing products. I know they're trying to reverse engineer shit. And I give them their refund. I send them on their way. I buy every single one of these. So you think I ask for the refund? Nope. I buy it just to support them. Honestly, I don't give a fuck. No sweat off my back. Okay, let's see. What do we want to look at here? I wanted to look at the loops, but I can't because they're pro. Elvis, what do you want me to look at? I mean, we have the general, like, I mean, it's the accordion situation. Standard. This is standard in pretty much everything. How about custom CSS? I want to write myself some custom CSS. I want to make a class called my section. I want to write some custom CSS. Where am I going to go for this? Let's see. Here we go. Nope, that's variables. Can I make one here, or is this still pro? What is this? Oh, this is like a locally scoped variable. I could do something like BG color or something, and I could do like, let's do red. Is that correct? And then maybe I could come up here and I could go backgrounds. Do I get that variable as an option? No. I can use it here though, right? Do I have to save first? Do I have to do something magical? Oh wait, it didn't save it down here. CSS variable, name, BG color, red. I don't know what I did wrong before, but it's working now. Okay, so let's go. Oh, wait. Oh, I wasn't doing that on the class. Shit. Okay, let's go back. Let's go to, this is why I hate input workflows, by the way. Like obviously, so Etch is gonna allow you to opt in. Do you want a CSS first workflow or an input first workflow, right? But this is just the natural problem with inputs. It's like they're all fucking over the place. There is a secret though in Etch that when you use the inputs, you don't have the problems that are native to an input-based workflow. So we're actually going to make inputs great again. I think we're going to make inputs great again. We'll see, but you don't have to use them. Okay, so these are like, yeah, this is a good way to make like locally scoped variables. But here's my fundamental question. So if I do this at the section level, does the build? Oh, there it is. Oh, so well that answers my question. Oh, I put 3 dashes. That's my fault. I'm a fucking idiot. Okay, that wasn't Builderius's fault. That was Kevin's fault. And it already answered a question that I was just about to fucking ask, which was, does it remember which locally scoped variables are kind of like associated with selectors? And I think it does. So what we're gonna see here is I'm going to, what does close do? Oh, is that my only option there? I kind of want to remove it. Oh dear. Isn't this X supposed to remove it? Oh, okay. Well, it didn't do that the first time. All right, so if I add that back, I should also see the locally scoped variable. Very nice. I like this. The bricks does not do this. This is something that I've wanted for a while. This is an example of clearly they have realized that when you use locally scoped variables, it's annoying when they're not exposed to the input UI. And it's annoying when you have to go look at the CSS to figure out what they are so you can then go back and like assign values to them somewhere else. So that's nice. I like that. New CSS property. Oh, okay. So this is to solve the problem of we gave you a bunch of properties, but because CSS moves quick, or maybe we didn't give you a property you wanted, you can name your own property and give it a value right here. And then it'll have an input UI. Also something you can't do in bricks. Also something you can't do in most builders. Also good to see. These are examples of problems being solved. Do you see what like effort, this is what effort looks like versus like phoned in, no effort in the previous example, okay? But I still haven't found my CSS. Where is upgrade? Oh, fuck. I gotta get my wallet again? Okay. I can't install Pro, right? I can't look at this side of it. Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah, you tell them, Boulder. You set these people straight. Set these people straight. Set these people straight. Okay. I can't go to CSS. I can't go to loops. I can't go to dynamic data. I can't go to, what can I go to? Elvis, what do you want me to look at? I will go in your direction. Give me something special. Say, Kevin, there's this fucking super special thing you haven't seen yet. I want you to see it. I'm looking down here. I got to upgrade to access the code editor. Okay, there's JavaScript, there's libraries, there's data. Get off me. This cord's trying to jujitsu me over here. I'm tapping out, dog. Get off me. Okay. What do you want me to see, Elvis? Loops are collections. Okay. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let me add a collection. Okay. Oh, shit. Broke something. Let's do it again. In this section, let's add a collection. Okay, data source. We need a data source. Data source, nav menu. I don't know. I need a data source. Do I have to go to a magic area for this? Can I create a data source in here? Before I leave this area, I just want to know. I need an answer. Go to archive template. Where's that? These are template conditions. Okay. Is that out? Do I have to? Oh, up here? Hold on. Hold on. Okay, we got components, we got pages, we got templates. No, go to, okay. You can loop through, go to archive template. Where do I don't have an archive template. Create template, all archives, save and open. Okay, what do I do here? I need docs. Create one, yes. Okay, save. Do I have to assign it? A little condition. I don't have it archive is the problem. So I don't know where to assign it to. I don't know why I'm making an archive template. Logo, click it. Got it. Okay. Do you want to come on here, Elvis? Here, look, this is not a hobby situation, okay? Let me go. Elvis, check your DMs. Elvis is here. I'm gonna let Elvis come on. We got a little bit. We got a little bit left. I told you we were gonna go over a little bit. Let me do something real quick. Let me do a little quick thing here. Watch. You're gonna see Elvis in just a second. I mean, I'm putting you on the spot, Elvis. I'm putting you on the spot. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do this. But let me bring this over here. No, you're gonna whip through it, Elvis. I want people to see how it's supposed to be done. Well, they don't need me fumbling through it. All right, let's go to, okay. All right, check your DM, Facebook. Check your FB, Elvis. I'm not in your OnlyFans, so I gotta message you on Facebook. I mean, I'll buy your OnlyFans too. I told you I support the cause, okay? But I probably won't ever log into it. But if you need me to support, I will. Let's see if Elvis shows up here. Oh, he's put on a nice shirt. Yeah.
Hello, do you hear me?
Oh yeah, we can hear you. Can everybody hear
Okay.
Elvis?
So
Hold on. Maybe I don't need Elvis.
I hear you. It's just my camera is for some reason. Wait a second. Let me do this without the camera because I'm on the phone walking my dog.
Okay, hey, no problem. Look, they'll see my screen. I think they can hear you. Can everybody hear Elvis?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. He doesn't. We don't need to see him. All right. What do I need to do?
Okay, so let me just tell you, you're using the free version. So you can use two kinds of loops.
Mm-hmm.
You can use post loop if you're on the archive template, because we are using the main query that the template hierarchy does on its own. So you don't have to pass any arguments. Just pick up posts from the data sources like you did, but you have to be on an archive or index blog template to be able to do that. The other kind of loop you can do, you can loop anything through REST API. So if you want to loop some famous blog, go there, pick up posts endpoint, and you will get all the little fields, titles, content, everything there. You can loop it right now. So you can do a lot, but it's a little bit different. So we're not doing it in the same way. There will be more UI in the Pro. Right now, a little bit of dev's job, but it's not that hard. For instance, to loop the posts, be in the archive page, add collection, choose posts as the source, it will be there. And then you can just add elements into the loop and pull title and content and feature image and stuff like that.
Okay, I'm trying to.
So step one.
Trying to create a post loop, right?
So
put a heading,
if you're in the archive template, just add a collection.
I did that. I added it. Yeah, I put a div inside the template. I put a heading inside the div. I just don't see anything.
Okay. So now go to collection itself. Select it.
Yeah.
Okay. In the settings, there will be data source. So pick posts.
It only has archive posts.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Pick it.
I still don't see anything on the page.
It should be there.
It says, oops, we have a huge problem here. That's what it says. Let's go to...
Whoa, that's weird. Just check collection. It posts. And doesn't go?
No. Let me start over. All right, we're going to go add a collection.
I mean, that's a bug. You should have seen like repeating items now.
Archive posts. I chose archive posts. So now I'm just going to put a heading in here. Okay.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah, see, I don't see the heading.
That's weird. Can you like right click on the collection and choose run? That's the way I like to force it to fetch.
I did that, and it's not rerunning.
Well, that's a bug then, or something that I don't know that you're doing. You should be like, if you're in the archive template, if you have posts, you should be able to see them now. It's like
I don't
art
have.
collection.
I may not have posts. I mean, let me see. Let me go because I didn't. This is just a blank install. So I just need to know how to get back to the admin. Let me go. Figure out how to get back to the admin.
So the logo is to get to the admin.
Okay.
Go to logo. You have options like dashboard, template.
Hello World. There is Hello World. There is a post in there. So we should be seeing something. You're saying I don't have to assign this anywhere?
No, that's everything is no magic area.
Okay. All right. Well,
it's just if you're not.
It's okay.
I don't know what you're very tiny, you know.
I will. I'm going to send you. You know what I'm going to do? Because I see a lot of users, they develop on local and then they go, I'm having a problem, and I go, great, send me a link. I'd love to log in and see it. And they're like, I can't do that. I'm like, why are you building on local? So I'm not on local, right? I can send you a link to this install if you want to log in, if you want to poke around, if you want to see what's going haywire with it, and then if you can get it working, you can let us know.
The thing is, I'm on the mobile, so
yeah, I know. I'm not right now. Not right now. Yeah, not right now. We'll get it though. We'll have you back. We'll have you back. Is there anything else I need to look at while I have you?
No. So I'll repeat quickly. Make a template which is an archive. Add the collection. Choose the source and add stuff into the template. It should run. If it doesn't, then it's some sort of bug.
Okay. Is there anything besides collections? Is there anything that like you say, hey, we did this innovative thing. I want you to see it. Is there anything else that we need to look at? Yeah,
you have any selector you can imagine. So when you're in any element, up there where there's the root, you can just start typing whatever you want to type, like you're in VS Code.
Okay.
And it works.
I'm gonna go back here.
Additionally, just to explain the root. Root is the what in bricks ID level is. We just don't want ID, which is why 020 it has to be able to override global stuff. Everything else, like custom classes, will be just custom classes. So if you make like my class, it's just outputting my class.
Got it. Let me see what's going on with this. I'm getting a warning.
Another thing you might want to try is releases. This is our Git-like thing. So, for instance, if you now share your link, nobody will see anything you did because you are now all of this time in the dev mode. So when you're done, go to releases, make a release, publish it, and then it's active.
Got it.
So check that.
Okay. All right, let me see. Publish to live. All right, so I can do, hold on, I'm trying, styles. Okay. So I can do any select, like I can do my, do I have to put a dot in selectors? My select H1. Like I can do something like that. That just adds an H1. Let me see. You can do combo selectors? Or no? Did we lose him? I think we lost him. All right, I think we lost Elvis. Oh, yep, I see on his, he's, Elvis is loading. He's loading right now. Okay. Oh, start with root. Okay, hang on, root. I don't know what start with root means. Is there a, like, literally type it? Like root H1? Ah, got it. Okay, so it's based on a dynamic root selector. So now I could do typography and FFF. Okay. Don't know about that. Maybe I'm doing something wrong again. That should work, right? Root H1. Let's see. I'm curious here. I'm curious now. Inspect. I bet you. Oh, it's an H2. That's why. Yeah. That's why. Root H2. Okay. Good. challenge here is, again, I'm gonna check on specificity here and just see how this is actually coming out. 0, 2, 1. Like Elvis, I would really love to see 0, 1, 1 here. 0, 1, 1. I would just really love to see that. I know you're trying to obviously avoiding IDs. Styling is very good. I mean, I assume I can force an ID. Yeah, like I can come in here and say my section like that, and then I could do. How do you do like a my section H1 kind of thing? Let's do my. I don't think you can do this though. Yeah, you can't. And the root, so yeah, so you can't do combo selectors like that off of any selector. You can just do it off of the root, which is actually you can't even do it. I don't think you can do it. Yeah, you can't do it off another selector too. So you can't do it off my section H1. It has to be off of the ID class and then the element. And then in my opinion, it just gives you a little too much specificity. 0 to 1 can cause other issues. He says you can, but I'm not seeing it. Root. See, root H2 is going to be off of the ID selector. All right. Well, Elvis, we'll have to have you back because what I'm going to do, I'm going to throw a bunch of stuff at you and you're just going to demo it. You're just going to show us, right? When I try to do it, that input for either global class based selectors only or local element level selectors. Go to the selectors pane. Oh, you have to do it over here, you're saying. Okay. So I can't do it inline, is that correct? I can't do it like inline in the workflow? The place I was already at. So I have to come over here and I have to do a new selector. So I would have to do my section H1. And then, did that add it somewhere? Oh, hold on. Elvis is back.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi.
So.
Do you hear me?
I can hear you, yes. We can hear you.
Okay, so let's do a selector, which is the global selector, which selects, for instance, every H2 in a section. Go to selectors, which if you look at the navigator panel, which is your right panel,
I'm there.
You have all the, we think of it, all the web development entities, right?
Yes.
So some are HTML elements, some are selectors, some are vars, right? So all of these are like different things. So choose selectors and in the input, start typing whatever you want to type.
I'm going to go, my section H1. H2. I want to select all H2s.
Yeah. So press enter, and now you have the selector, and it should be selected for you. And now you can start adding styles in the left panel, like you would on any class.
Got it. The only thing I was asking, so what I was asking is, what it would be nice to be able to do is add that selector from the selectors panel on the element itself, and then also have it show up there because when I select that section that is actually making this heading white, I can't see in that area, that selectors area, that selector is affecting this section, right? Because it only exists in this area over here, this like library essentially.
Sure. So we were thinking about this a lot. So let me tell you what the thinking was. You maybe disagree, but just to understand, it's not like we forgot. The input on the elements, which is on the left side, right? When you have some element selected and you want to add a class to it or something, it's like a multi-purpose thing. So the most common one is a class. And that one you can add by just typing whatever is going to add the dot for you. If you want, so what many people want, if they use a lot of utilities, they want to like just drop a lot of them, right? So if you make spaces in your selector there, it's going to break them down in classes for people that love utilities. Yep. I'm not one of them, but there are such people. So that's one reason. Then second, Builderius is a component-based architecture. So one of those things is to make locally scoped CSS. So the way to make different kinds of combo selectors, but scope them, is to start with root. So percent, root, percent, and then whatever. You will now create a combo selector or whatever kind of selector you want, only it's gonna choose children of the currently selected element.
Correct.
Root is like this, like right now, this, and then anything inside. So this provides you a way of kind of grouping CSS in little chunks. It's not everything is global, right? So that was the thinking there. If you want to add the ID selector from there, you can do root, but it goes percent hashtag root percent. That will make an ID for you. Another way to make an ID or class or anything, and also use dynamic data, is to go to content, scroll down to attributes, and there you have ways to use, like, I don't know, ACF data to be making your classes.
Okay.
So these are like all the ways you can do it. So simple point is, in the selectors panel, you will be doing global stuff until we have Pro. Then you're going to have scoping to template. You have these buttons on the top, template, global. That's for that. On the element itself, it's local, and then you can also have dynamic data in the attributes themselves.
Got it. All right. I know you're on a walk, so it's gonna be hard for you to follow along. Plus, there's a delay on YouTube. Yeah. So what I'm gonna do to just show everybody, because I also, and this is for you to rewatch later, like my suggestion would be for the dynamic root selector kind of concept. Right now, that dynamic root selector only applies to the ID generated class on the element, which you said scopes those styles to that specific element. The problem is, and I love scope styles. I really, really love scope styles. The problem with that workflow is that, for example, if somebody uses BIM, so, and this is for everybody watching too, we do my card, and then we would do my card __ heading, and I'm just going to highlight this is a problem with page builders in general. These are the things that we're just trying to fix. So this would be like text, and then we would have my card link, right? So my card __ link. And now what I want to do, because if I use the inputs, obviously I can go to any of these classes, like my card heading, I want the color to be red. Fantastic. Now the heading's going to be red in all instances of my card, which is fantastic. However, if and I'm assuming, like, because now what I'm going to do, whoops, that's not duplicate. What I'm going to do is duplicate. We really need, Elvis, like, I will buy Pro Plus right now if you can give me a duplicate shortcut. Okay.
It's in the works. It's
okay,
coming. We have some shortcuts like copy paste works.
Okay.
And there's more, but yeah,
I'm just telling you
already.
Yeah, if I could get a duplicate short, I will subscribe to your OnlyFans. Okay, so
you actually bought the plugin, although we already gave you the license before.
So here we go. Okay, I am going to root H2 this, and we are going to color red. And so there's the issue that we're highlighting, is that I'm not able. I want to scope the H2 styles to my card. But the only way to do that dynamic selector is you can't do it off of my card. You can only do it off of the ID generated selector, which to me is a limitation. Because here's the thing, I can obviously go to the class, and everybody's going to say, go to the class and do red, and they're all going to be red. I totally get this. The tremendous cost of an input first UI is that you scatter styles, you scatter CSS. So anybody that knows, that uses inputs on a regular basis. And then when you need custom CSS, this gets even worse, because now it introduces the concept of, where is my styles? Where the fuck are my styles coming from? It could be in custom CSS, so it could be an input, it could be on this
now
class.
I have another reason for you to buy another one.
Yes.
Plus Pro.
Yes, Pro Plus.
Left column on the top, there is a little button that says Pro on it.
Yes.
When you click it, the entire left area becomes the code editor, and you can see all CSS you have been doing through the UI. You can continue coding, go back and use the UI. You can look at them by element, or you can by selector, or you can look at them all at once. But that's Pro.
Excellent. Okay.
So that's something we are
that
not
excites me. That excites me, Elvis. I need that.
So your CSS will all live in the same place.
Good.
That's not going to be a problem.
I need that. And yes, because the scattering is a problem. So you can, the way we get around scattering, like if I go back to bricks, because of a dynamic root selector. So I'm gonna do the same thing in bricks, which won't take long because we can auto BIM it. So I'm just gonna add a div and we will add we'll just add some elements to it. So we'll do the same things. We'll go heading, text, and link, okay? And bricks is having trouble keeping up these days with things. If we are being critical here. Get the link on the page, bricks. Get the link on the page. There we go. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say my card, and then we're gonna auto BIM it. And this is gonna give us all of our classes, which is fantastic. Oh, we gotta turn off, I don't want to cheat. I don't want to cheat. Let's turn off automatically style cards. Okay, so we'll turn that off. All right. And just for everybody that's watching, this is how you get around the scattered styles. First of all, you opt in for a CSS first workflow. Then you can do things like root, and you can do your padding, you know, like this, card, padding, okay? And then if I want to do something to the heading, I got a couple different ways I can do that. One is, if I don't want to affect specificity, I just do this, right? Because I know that I named it __ heading. I can just root selector it, heading, and then I can say color red, right? And then this is going to be all instances of this card. And then now I can come in here and I can say text, because that's my text, and I can say color blue. And now I have, did I call it text? Oh, I called it text basic. Okay, so text basic. Okay, now they're all gonna be blue. And so now I have a unified, like I never am lost on my CSS. But the minute you start using inputs for anything, you're scattering styles, and it is a maintainability, efficiency nightmare. I will let everybody, this problem is solved in Etch. You can use, that's why I said we're making inputs great again. We're making inputs great again. But this is the common problem that we should be trying to solve. I know it's a problem that Elvis is thinking about because you can tell they're thinking about lots of things and considering lots of things. It is a problem that Oxygen is not thinking about because they don't think at Oxygen, they just duplicate. They just duplicate things that already exist, and there's not a lot of thinking going on over there. Okay.
Okay, so we have things. We'll talk Thursday. I'm going to show you some stuff.
Yes.
But we think we also have a solution for that. It's just hard over phone. So let's continue later.
Yes, yes.
Great hearing.
Thank you for coming on, Elvis, and I'll see you on Thursday.
Yeah.
And just to let everybody know, we are doing a build series on Thursday. So Elvis, if you want to see more of Builderius, you'll be able to see him using it, which is even better because that's what we want to see. We want to see the efficient guy use it. I was already prepared. First of all, I saw Builderius for 5 minutes before this live stream, and I was all ready to say, I am far more excited about Builderius than Oxygen 6. And again, it goes back to all of the context that we talked about. I'm going to start publishing this stuff publicly soon, but you can't imagine the amount of scrutinizing of minor details that real engineers of like software go through. The debates that we have behind the scenes, the arguments that we have behind the scenes, the try it this way, then this way, then this way, then this way behind the scenes, down to, there's a perfect example. Notice that these inputs are unitless inputs. We have come to the conclusion that this is how it should be done. And if you go into Webflow, you go into Oxy 6, you go into a lot of different interfaces and you see units, that lets you know there's not a lot of thought has been put into this. Because the amount of, I'll give you the conclusion that I came to for units in CSS inputs. The reason that they are put there is for beginners, because the argument is beginners don't know what units are available. Therefore, they need to be prompted with their options. And so this is what the builders, they ask the question, how do we make an interface easy for beginners? That is the fundamental premise of nearly every page builder, except Builderius, apparently. So Etch, the reason Etch is radically different is because it asks a radically different question. It does not ask that question. It asks, how can we truly innovate the workflow for professionals and aspiring professionals? That is the question. So if you change the question, you get radically different answers. Now, what does the unit selector actually solve the problem for beginners? My argument is it solves it for 2 weeks. Because if you are just learning, you're getting better, you're like, after 2 to 3 weeks, you know you can just write PX. You know you can write M. If you watch one video in Page Building 101, you also know how all of these units work. And you can write VH, and you can write VW, and you can even write VMAX and VMin, and you can write a lot of different things, okay? And so it is a feature that, by the way, adds a lot of complexity and to the architecture that has to be managed and maintained and could cause problems in the future when we talk about adding AI layers and stuff like that, or context menu workflows. It can add a lot of complexity. If you think about a unit, if you're not familiar with how software development works, look at this box right here. This is a very simple box. If I go 50 characters, take what's in the box, output it in the style sheet. Done deal, move on with your life, and everybody's happy. Everybody's happy. I'm fucking perfectly happy with that. I love that. I couldn't love that any more than I already love it, okay? The minute you say, nah, what we should do, we should have a unit selector. Okay, so now this is a component. This input is a component. You now have to build a new component or a component variant that says, okay, but this kind of input has a selector, a unit dropdown. Now you have to populate that dropdown with some sort of JSON file, and you have to keep it up to date with all of the available units. And then what you have to do, because what happens if the user writes 40 characters, but then there's a pixel thing over here? You have to now build in logic to strip the units. And then after you strip the unit, you have to sync the unit with the dropdown, and you have to keep them synced, right? And then if you don't restore them, when the person clicks into the input, if you don't restore the unit for them, they can't copy the full value to their clipboard and paste it somewhere else, which is a big disturbance for the user. That's terrible workflow. That's terrible UX. Look at how this decision, oh, we need to have unit inputs, that's what's easy for beginners. Look at all of the complexity that is required to achieve that. And then I came to the conclusion, and then it only solves that problem for 2 weeks. Essentially holds their hand for 2 weeks, and then they know what the units are. And guess what? After that 2 weeks, when they know what the unit is, they don't want the selector anymore. They don't want the unit dropdown. It only gets in their way. How has builder after builder after builder, Divi, Elementor is fucking notorious for this. First of all, Elementor didn't even give you, for a long time, a unitless input. You were forced to have a unit. Can you imagine that? And then when you try to sync them or copy them from one to the other, they were forced to all be the same. You couldn't use M's on the block axis and pixels on the inline axis. That was not allowed in Elementor. I think you still might not be able to do that. The tremendous amount of limitation, and nobody was able to say, this is fucking stupid. Why are we doing it this way? Let's just give them an input, let them write the value, map it out, and no problems, no complicate. Because they asked the wrong question. They built the software for the wrong people, okay? It's nice to see bricks go, you know what? We're not gonna baby people with the input selector that just gets in everybody else's way. We're not gonna baby them for 2 weeks until they actually learn what the units are, which begs another question. If you don't know what VW does, you probably shouldn't be using it. So the fact that we can select it from a dropdown doesn't even help you. It doesn't even help the person. They don't know what it does. Why give it to them as an option? If they know what it does, they already know what it is, and they can just type it and say, that's what I want. And now we have variable first workflows. Unit selectors get in the way of variables. It's tremendous. There's so much philosophy that goes into these, that should go into these tools. And so when a team essentially phones it in and doesn't put any of that work behind what they're building, that can't be respected. You should feel disrespected as a user of the tool, okay? We got to get out of here. Yeah, I know, but I did warn people, Calisthenics Ireland, I gave a disclaimer on this. Okay, I'm just gonna go through the chat before we leave real quick. And by the way, Oxygen would not have gotten all that criticism if they didn't copy the builders that already have that laundry list of criticisms. Like, you're guilty of copying all of the problems. Like, you didn't solve anything. Okay. And it's not that they didn't know these things were a problem. I mean, God, I've been harping on these things I give people the answers. If somebody's building a competing product, I give you the answers of hundreds of hours of video that you could go through. All the answers are there. I publicly publish half this shit on my blog. Like, it's just a choosing to ignore. It's choosing to ignore, and that's you can't escape the criticism. At some point, you're opting in. I'm just reading the chat real quick. I never get to read the chat. We're going to have to do a separate Q&A. I didn't even get to questions. This has been an absolute dumpster fire of a stream. My apologies. I knew it wasn't going to go well because it was just... Yeah. I mean, I know people love it. I know the consensus is great. It's entertaining. It's all the things. The general conclusion is, like, you guys need to support the builders who are actually pushing things forward, whether that's me, whether that's Elvis, whether that's whatever. We are moving into an era 4. Like, you need to be using era 4 tools. And I know, like, this is just more ammunition for people to shit on and direct hate and everything else. The amount of hate mail that I get, like, and hate comments, and like, I you know, you expect it, right? But it doesn't do me, doing this doesn't do me any favors. You know, I could be like Thomas. I could be like fucking Switzerland, you know? Just don't get involved. Just keep all your comments to yourself. But I was commenting the other day that, like, do you know how many people I have rescued from going down very dark, deep, expensive rabbit holes by doing this kind of thing? Do you know how many people thank me for, you know, they, like, a guy, I can't remember who it was specifically, but he commented the other day and he was like, I really appreciate this kind of, like, open criticism and honesty of a tool, because when I came into the game, I was going from channel to channel to channel. And it was all these people going, you can use whatever you want. You could use whatever makes you feel good. You could do things however you want. And they were like, you know what? When everybody's saying that, you're rudderless. You never know what direction you're supposed to go in, because everybody's just like, it's just a fucking big kumbaya. And then I went to Elementor and got lost there for 6 months. I went to Divi, I got lost there for 6 months. It was only until Page Building 101 saying, this is wrong, this is right, these tools aren't doing it well, these tools are doing it well, that I finally had some semblance of direction, and I could actually go and be productive, and I could actually learn fundamentals, and I could actually up my skills, and it requires the opinions. It requires the opinions. It requires not kumbayaing everything to death. It requires calling out money grabs when it's an obvious money grab. And the people have the fucking nerve to say that anything we're doing is a money grab when we're putting the most attention to detail, the most philosophizing, the most consideration for the end user and their workflow. And they're gonna call us a money grab, and then they're gonna go defend the actual money grabs. It's fucking ludicrous. It's ludicrous. It makes no sense. They're doing it for personal reasons because they don't like my attitude, or they don't like my personality. They don't like the fact that pick anything, any attribute of Kevin. They don't like it. So they're just gonna make these fairy tales up, and then they're gonna go off and defend the actual tools that are in fact the money grabs. It's fucking dumb. It's just dumb. Yes, child levels of immaturity, 100%. Okay, I'm getting out of here. I'm gonna go read all the hate mail that's now filling my inbox, most likely. I will be, back with Elvis on Thursday. We'll be looking at some things. And end of March, it's not officially dated on the schedule yet, but you guys will get to see Etch. If you're not inside, you will get to see the progress. It's 6 months worth of progress. We think there's some very cool things to show you. It is not a UI that looks anything like that was a big decision. There's the benefits of, well, things feel familiar, but familiar that doesn't work very well. And so we got to be unfamiliar to go be great. As I said before, you got to go be great. Love you guys. I do thank you for the ones that do support us. I really, really, really appreciate it, right? We need all the objective people we can get. We need all the honest people we can get. We need all of the OGs that we can get. Is there a separate YouTube channel for Etch? There will be very, very, very soon. Yes. Not quite yet, but there will be soon. Love you guys. See you soon.